All right, the new machine that I'm working on is called All My Web Server by TryHackMe. It's a medium level difficulty machine. Here I have the story or the outline. Basically, we are in a Docker environment and we will find our ways to gain a foothold in the Docker environment, and we will get an unprivileged user account, and we will vertically escalate to the root account inside the container, and then we will find our way out and we will escape the Docker container. That's the roadmap. Right? So the IP address is 10.10.62.22. I went ahead and start the port scanning. So we have two ports open, 22 and 80. And on the 80, if you look at the HTTP server header, you see Apache 2449. When you search for that, you will see that there is a very recent exploit on that in late 2021. It's a path traversal and remote code execution. And the details such that you have this bash script and you apply a payload and get access to the system. I won't be following that. What I will do instead is I will use this MSF console, Metasploit Framework. So what I should do is I should MSF console running first. It will take a couple of seconds. All right. Then I will search for Apache 2.4.49, and I will see Q exploits here. And this is a rank excellent. And I will just use that one, use 0, the label for that. And I now have it loaded. So I will look at the options. So it accepts two vulnerabilities, this one or that one. So the one I found over the internet I showed you here is 41773. I can just go ahead and use that one. So set CVE, and let me copy it. Copy, paste, good. And then that proxies, it's a no here. So our host, set our host, that's the target machine IP, which is 10.10.62.22. Let me check very quick. Yeah. Okay, got that. And regarding the port, set our port, it is 80. We had two ports open, 22 and 80. And regarding this SSL, I will research on that. But negotiating on the protocol is really, in fact, it's not necessary. It says not required. But when I set it as true, I don't get the interpreter session established. So I will set it false. And I can't quite explain that, and I will research on this. So this is something I will be working on. And regarding the local host, lhost, that's my VPN IP 10.6.34.212. I guess I can now revisit the options. I should have everything ready. Okay, I can just exploit and see what results I will get. So it's basically using that exploit and trying to get connected through this 4444 listener, and on that port 35496, and now more than one interpreter sessions are established. Okay, so what I have to do now is I have to open up a shell on the target machine. So I just type shell. Now I should be able to give commands. So let's see, who am I? But daemon. So this is the underprivileged user account. So this exploit works. So I have now the foothold in the machine. What I should do first is I should upgrade the upgrade the shell. So let's see which Python it has on this system. So it's Python 3. So Python 3 tech C. What was the command? Let me get it copied from here. Import pty let's spawn, and then bin bash close double quotes close parentheses and the command or the single quote. Okay, now I have this shell upgraded. Okay. Well, I tried a couple of things, and the first thing I tried was using find option. Look at the privileges with 4,000, 2,000, so with set UIDs. But it seems that this lab is really a lab about capabilities. So I have this Hactrix XYZ website open for the capabilities. Basically, my understanding is that instead of offering the user the full privileges of the super user, capabilities are categorizing the privileges and giving a more granular control on the user access. And that can be exploited. And if I go down here, it's a long section. So I have this link up here. It's from hactrix.xyz. And here, that is really the command we need to be looking at. So you can search for the binaries with capabilities using that command, get cap, take R, and we don't want to see the standard output. So we have this disregard command here. So I'll copy it, come over here and paste. And it shows that we have this capability on our Python 3.7. In fact, if you go down more on the same web page, there are some examples, and we just have a very similar example. It's possible that the person who proposed the machine may have contributed to that section as well. But basically, here is a good example. There you go. So after this binary search with capabilities, that is the result showed up here. And in our case, we have, I'll put it down. In our case, we have, let me move up. That's what I would like to show you. And in our case, we have it here. So when we search for this get cap option, we have Python 3.3 with cap set UID and EP. In this case, E means effective and P means permitted. So basically, that capability is effective, it is activated, and it is permitted, it is allowed, right? So what we will follow. So it says that the exploit is get the binary itself, tag C, and that command here, which changes it's an OS command set UID to 0. Basically, it is allowing us to run the command as super user, and we will hope to get a root session after that. So I will do the same thing. I will copy the binary here, paste, and then get this section. That worked, and we are now the root user. Now remember, we are the root user inside the Docker container. So how do I know that? Simple. If I do this ls tech la, so hold on. So where are we now? Okay, so we are in bin. So let's go to root directory and type ls tech la. You see we have this hidden directory doc environment signal. So we are the root user on this Docker environment. So our flag is probably here, cd root ls cat user. I can auto complete that. Okay, that's the user flag that we are after. Copy, comes over here. Okay, that works. So we need to get the root flag, and in fact, root flag is root flag for this target machine, and we need to first escape from the Docker environment, Docker container. All right. So let's go back to where we are. All right. To do that, there are a couple of ways to work on this, and the one I've able to understand and apply is that when you do this if config, you are basically reviewing the network interfaces on that target machine, and it seems that this is the default interface for a Docker station. So the local host is this 127.127.0.0.1. So the recommendation here is that using an nmap scan and look at the open ports, which can give us access to the local host on the target machine or escape outside of the container. Well, nmap, unfortunately, is not installed here. There is no nmap here. So what we can do is we can search for this GitHub repository, and there are many available ones. This is the one I will use here. It's showing the static binaries, and static binary here means that everything is prepackaged. There is no need to install. We just need to take this binary into the target machine and run it, right? And one other step. So I downloaded already, so it is in my local host. So let me go to directory cd. Okay, ls. So I have this nmap here. Let me show it to you. File nmap. Okay, so it is an executable, just statically linked. So it will work. So I just need to transfer it to the target machine. Now, one other thing that I have to mention here is that this root or this target machine here, that environment that I'm in, it doesn't have wget, right? It doesn't have the wget binary, but it has this curl binary. There you go. So I need to be using the curl to get the file transferred over to this target machine. So I can go back to my local machine here. Okay, I am in this home Kali TryHackMe directory. I will open a web server to transfer the files to the target machine. All right, it's up and running. So what I will do now is I will be using this curl command. Just for the sake of time, I will just paste the command here. So it's basically a curl command going to my VPN IP, and I have nmap available on that directory where I have the Python server active, and I will save this nmap binary to the temp directory. And the reason for that is I think it's common practice that a temp directory is typically not very much control, so you can assume it is writable and executable. So I can go over and write and send it to the directory here, and I get this 200, so it is successfully transferred over there. What I can do is I can go to the temp directory and look at the file. It is there nmap. So I need to change the permissions, and I make it executable plus x and nmap. Okay, now I can run the nmap and see the open ports on this target machine. So it's an executable now. So dot slash nmap. Now the IP address will be the local host on the target machine. So I'm sorry, this will be my Docker environments, and the Docker environment has 172.17.0.1. So I tried a couple of scanning techniques, and the one that works is searching for the all ports with a rate of 5,000. And there are many other possible ways, of course. Basically, this basically this mean rate is really related to Nmap's it's called adaptive retransmission algorithm. I don't really know the details of it very well, but basically it is the rate the packages are sent. So if you set the mean rate to 5,000, basically Nmap is sending the packages with a rate equals to or greater than 5,000 packets per second rate. And uh, that is really, there's no really perfect solution to which rate should be used. It has something to do with network congestion and other factors. So I just tried a couple of options, and that option gave me a list of the open ports. And if you look at the open ports, we have 2280, and we have two more listed here, 5985, 5986. Well, I went ahead and explored those, and we have an interesting outcome here. Let me show you the link. It's again from this hactricks.xyz documentation. These ports, the explanation is that there is a tool developed by Microsoft. It's called OMI, and there's an exploit on that tool, or there is a vulnerability on that tool, and all Azure Linux servers are having that tool. So what we can do is we can go to this GitHub repository. I'll open in a different new page here, GitHub repository, and copy link. Sorry. And see what we have here. And just to make it quick, basically there is a Python code here, omigod.py. We will need to download this file, and we will send it over to the target machine. We have a HTTP a Python server still running, so we can use that. And using that command here, we are escaping outside the escaping the Docker environment. That's the plan. So I have this let me see, I have this Python code available on my okay, here on my directory where I'm serving for the this HTTP server. I have this file downloaded omi.py. So I will be using the same curl command, and it will be curl tag-v, the IP address of the server, which is my VPN IP, and that's the name of the file, and it is going inside the temp directory, similar to the nmap. So I did that. So I have 404. Hold on. Okay, it's because I didn't put the right name of the file. I changed it to omi.py. So let me fix the file name and resend the curl command. So now omi.py, not omi.py. That still pending. It's possible that I get disconnected from this machine. No, I still have 1 hour. All right, what happened? Okay, it went through. So it took a while, but it went through. So we can check it out. Okay, omi.py. So I'll be using that. Now, let's go to this GitHub. Okay, so let's go through that documentation here. Where was it? I go to this GitHub, like, okay, there you go. So this is the command basically. So I'll be using Python 3, omi, in my case, it will be omi.py, tag t, and the address. This address should be the address or IP address of the Docker container, tag c and ID. That's what I will be inserting here. This one, okay. So that's the code here. So I can just, let me process that. I will copy it and change it here on there. And okay, so here, paste. So Python omi.py, tag t, Docker container IP, C and ID. Okay, so that that what does it say here? Okay, it didn't work because if I go up here, you will see that I'm using the Docker IP address, but I should have used the bridge IP. So when Docker container was installed, it established a Docker the connection, bridge connection. All the containers, in this case, there's only one container, and the hosts are connected to that work over this bridge connection. So the command should be sent over to the bridge IP, and if I fix it, make it this one. Go down here and send this comment. I'll get a response, and I'm asking for the ID, and it tells me what ID. So what I need to do is I need to change it, and I can look at the content in the root directory by changing these IDs to list and then /root. It shows that there is a root flag, root.txt. So I can cat it out with one command string, cat root /root.txt. That will give the root flag of the host machine. And now this is outside the Docker container. So I go to the menu here and paste it. It should be was buttons. Okay, perfect. Well, this was a great lab. I really learned a lot, and I need to practice on the bridge. I'm sorry, with the Docker container, but I think I understood the big picture.